buddy. My name's Hoken D Rock here with another stream. Hopefully, all of you are having a wonderful day. It is Friday, January 20th, 9:17. If you're watching us live, the crypto market cap sitting right now at $984 billion. Bitcoin dominance hasn't moved, sitting at 41.4%. Same thing as ETH, 19.4%. Bitcoin has broken above 21K again. Seeing some more consolidation out of it, but again, not a decisive move. Sitting at 1564, BNB below 290 at 289, Cardano at 34 cents, Dogecoin at 8.15 cents, Matic at 96.6 cents. Taking a look at DJI, or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we can see that we seem to be going into the red a bit more here on the daily, or on the hourly chart, pardon me. We'll see if this flips by the end of the day. Again, Bitcoin consolidating roughly between 20,900 and roughly 21,200 here on the minute chart. But if we look at the hourly chart, we can see that Bitcoin, for the most part here for the past 24 hours, stayed between 20,600 and 21,200. It's bonked its head right around there, right around 21.2 a few times. We'll see if the bulls can continue forward and onward. If not, bears will take over, and we will see some more cascading prices. That's just my take, not financial advice. Again, daily chart, it looks like we keep bonking our heads right around 21.2. Again, if bulls cannot continue onward, bears will take control. DXY not being very decisive. Again, here we can see that we are sitting at 2.26. Bottom as of right now was right around 101.51. We'll see if we set a new low. If we do set a new, we can expect stonks and crypto to rally as a result. If this rips higher though, and we see this go to the upside, can see the opposite of stonks and crypto. You can see them get absolutely obliterated. Headed over to Twitter for some news coming from Bitcoin Magazine. A Miami mayor confirms he's still taking his salary in Bitcoin. He's buying Bitcoin every 2 weeks. Again, got to develop your own strategy for how you want to accumulate Bitcoin, crypto, stonks, whatever it may be. Have a strategy. His strategy, I guess, is to buy it every 2 weeks. Here we have Anthony Scaramucci saying Bitcoin could easily hit 100K in 2 or 3 years time. So bearish. I that's what I'm telling people. Like, don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million. It definitely could happen here within the next 10-20 years, but I'd say focus on 100,000, then 150K, and then $250,000. That's where my head's at with where Bitcoin is going. 100K next bull cycle, I think, is totally achievable. That's about a 5x from where we are right now. A lot of people would be happy with a 5x return on an investment. A lot of people will take profits as a result. But yeah, I'd say 100K is probably like the absolute bare minimum Bitcoin will get to at the top of the bull run. I think probably 150 to 250K is more likely. That's more like a 7 to 10x, but we'll tell. Bitcoin's price at the time that Peter Schiff put this out, Bitcoin was 8K. He said back on January 19th of 2020, he said he just lost all his Bitcoin he's ever owned. His wallet got corrupted somehow, and his password is no longer valid. So now, not only is my Bitcoin intrinsically worthless, it has no market value either. I knew owning Bitcoin was a bad idea. I just never realized it was this bad. Here we can see as to why Peter Schiff is so against Bitcoin. He doesn't understand the whole thing. Not your keys, not your crypto. I guess his wallet glitch or whatever. He probably was not using a cold storage wallet. Nonetheless, he lost his Bitcoin, and that's probably what's driving his hatred of it. Here we have Jane Addams saying JP Morgan owns Ethereum, claiming it's not decentralized as a result. Big banks owning crypto. I'm not really against the idea, but it is a little concerning considering how much money some of these banks have at their disposal. Could they theoretically manipulate the prices of Ethereum and other crypto assets, digital assets? Uh, I don't know. Let me know what you think. That Jamie Dimon said that FTX decentralized Ponzi scheme. This guy went on national television and said FTX was decentralized. Clearly has no idea what he's talking about. FTX was anything but decentralized, very, very centralized. SEC charges SBF with defrauding FTX investors. We'll see what comes out of that. Is Sammy Boy here going to pay what the SEC wants, or is he going to have mommy and daddy bail him out? I'm sure has many back doors he has access to access funds to pay for any fees, lawyers, etc. But again, we'll cover more of this as the develops in due time. Crypto firm Genesis officially files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Again, we could see fallout when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto as a result. So just be ready, prepared for anything. Could see some more insolvencies, more bankruptcies coming later this bear market, whether it's weeks, months, potentially a year. Time will tell who's solvent at all of this. Large scale fraud has been normalized and institutionalized across society today. Yet, the majority of people don't recognize nor care. This belongs to many sectors, whether it's the financial sector, the political sector, pharmaceutical sector, you name it. Ignorance is bliss. Moving on over to the Feds Williams saying the Fed still has a long way to go on rate hikes. Again, no sign of pausing rate hikes anytime soon. Harker saying he sees the Fed raising rates a few more times this year. Everyone's definition of a few is, for me, that's roughly 3 to 4 times. Some people may classify a few as maybe 4 or 5 or 6. I think once you get past 5, you're definitely in the several category. That's just me. I do think the Federal Reserve will do about 3 or 4 more rate hikes, about 25 to 75 basis point each. I think we'll probably just do 2 to 3 more 50 basis point rate hikes, and then flip over to 25 basis point rate hike. That's just my opinion, not financial advice. Fed's Harker adds that he favors holding rates once monetary policy is restrictive enough. Again, so once inflation has cooled enough, they can hold the rates at where they are, wait for the economy to catch up to that, and then pivot thereafter. Fed officials, I guess, are shooting for a 3.5% inflation rate by the end of the year. That means we need to come down roughly 3 to 4% in about 12 months' time. I do think it is possible. Whether will happen remains to be seen. The Federal Reserve continues with 50 to 75 basis point rate hikes for at least the first quarter. Going into quarter 2, I do think we could get to the actual goal that they're shooting for of 3.5%. But again, time will tell. If you think the economy is getting better, you're wrong. Google's Alphabet planning to cut roughly 12,000 jobs globally. This comes after companies like FedEx, Amazon, and many others did massive layoffs ahead of the holiday shopping season, which is interesting because typically these companies load up on workers instead of furloughing them or firing them. Another thing, another reminder is that used car prices are still 43% higher versus December 2019. Let that sink in. I don't think we will get back to December 2019 prices when it comes to vehicles. But even used car prices still need to come down a little bit, and they certainly will if the Federal Reserve continues their pace with rate hikes and such. Will again probably never getting back to December 2019 prices. Maybe we could drop to 30% higher compared to 2019. Maybe we could drop to 25% higher compared to 2019. I'm not in the market to buy a vehicle right now, so it's not really an issue. Maybe at the end of the year or sometime next year, I might be in the market, but as of right now, I'm just trying to pay down debts, stack dry powder to um, buy up some crypto and some stonks if once we do head lower. Here we have Peter Clack saying, if you want to see what is driving the global climate hysteria, here it is at Davos. This is a rational outburst from Al Gore, does not contain a shred of evidence of science or truth. Sorry, mentality of the bloated rich that have no understanding of the real world. Just a reminder that Gore said that by 2012, the world would end because of climate change. You know, we would be all submerged in water. We'd be drowning, etc. I don't know. If you associate yourself with Al Gore, I don't think I believe you very much. Here,
And
I'll
the
just play a
accumulated
clip of
amount
it.
is now trapping as much extra heat as would be released by 600,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs exploding every day on the Earth. That's what's boiling the oceans, creating these atmospheric rivers and the rain bombs and sucking the moisture out of land and creating the droughts and melting the ice and raising the sea level and causing these waves of climate refugees predicted to reach 1 billion in this century. Look at the xenophobia and political authoritarian trends that have come from just a few million refugees. What about 1 billion? We would lose our capacity for self-governance on this world. We have to act. So in answer to your question, I would say we have to have a sense of urgency much greater than we have yet had, and we have had.
Yeah, I don't believe that whole narrative. Like he was comparing it to nuclear bombs that were launched on Hiroshima. He was comparing climate change to that. Like we're doing that every day. We're just launching hundreds of nukes per day. That's what's equivalent to the oceans heating up and such. It's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty outlandish claims. World Economic Forum saying we're now facing
Dear friends,
something deep,
science is not a climate
mass
crisis.
extinction.
We are now facing something deeper. Mass extinction, air pollution, undermining ecosystem functions, really putting humanity's future at risk. This is a planetary crisis.
This is a safety crisis, but above all, it is also a justice crisis. Many areas in the world are uninhabitable. This uninhabitable zone is increasing. If we
So
continue
they
with our
claim.
greenhouse
So they
gas
say.
emissions, then by 2070, as many as 3 billion people will live in uninhabitable zones.
Again, I don't believe that narrative. Again, remember these people are buddies with people like Al Gore, who said the world was going to end by 2012. Here we are, well over a decade later. World hasn't ended. Price caps are melting a bit, but I've heard some reports claiming that they're actually growing instead of shrinking, which is counter to the narrative that people like this are pushing. So kind of interesting there. Here we have Emerald Robinson saying, when the FBI director flies to a foreign country to brag at a globalist conference that he's got the U.S. government and private sector monitoring and censoring everyone, clear violation of the Constitution. So when you know America's government has become a tyranny, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. What is the FBI director Ray doing at the World Economic Forum exactly? I don't know. Here we have Tony Blair calls for digital infrastructure to monitor who is vaccinated and who is not for the vaccines that will come down the line at Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum.
To know who's vaccinated and who hasn't been. Some of the vaccines that will come on down the line will be multiple. There'll be multiple shots. So you've got to have, for reasons to do with the healthcare more generally, but certainly for a pandemic or for you've got to have a proper digital infrastructure. And many countries don't have that. In fact, most countries don't have that. You need to know who's.
Yeah, just a reminder, this guy's super into digital ID, so it's no coincidence he's talking about digital infrastructure. That's essentially what vaccine passports are pertaining to. It's interconnected with digital ID. Simon's AG chairman calls on people to stop eating meat, combat climate change at Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum. This clip's pretty weird, if you ask me. Listen to what he says. Protein in the future will not come from meat, says Seisman Jim Hagman Snape, who predicts this is alternative will taste even better. So why are we trying to mimic meat? Here we go.
My daughter, 24, inspired me and said, Dad, how can you advocate for these zero carbon value chains if you still eat meat? And so I stopped eating meat. Now the math would say, well, you need to stop eating meat 11 years to compensate for a flight to Thailand. Yes, but if 1 billion people stop eating
11 years, you need to stop eating meat to offset the carbon emissions that you put out from flying from, I'm not exactly sure where he's referring to, but he said Thailand. So you need to quit meat for 11 years for you to offset your flight to Thailand for a holiday. Just let that sink in.
eating meat, I tell you, it has a big impact. Not only does it have a big impact on the current food system, but it will also inspire innovation of food systems. And I predict that we will have proteins not coming from meat in the future. They will probably taste even better. So why are we trying to mimic meat if we can have a better taste? They will be zero carbon and much healthier than the kind of food that we eat today. That is a mission that we need to get on. I can inspire you to maybe look at an organization called EAT, easy to remember, EAT, who have all the facts on this and who have the policies necessary, the innovations necessary, and the scale necessary in order to make food systems sustainable.
I think it's good that he brought that up. He's basically showing you how little foregoing meat for a day, a week, or even a year does to the environment. It's very little impact. I'm not going to say it's nothing, but very little, because as like he highlighted, you would have to forego meat 11 years to offset the emissions that you took on a plane to Thailand for a holiday. Meanwhile, people like him take private planes to events like this, like the World Economic Forum over in Davos. Several times a year they meet up. So think about all the carbon emitted from their private jets. Just think about that. Pretty crazy stuff. Here we have John Kerry, the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, was in a rush to avoid journalist questions. The World Economic Forum event in Davos. He's been known for his use of private planes, but lied and told journalists that he flies commercial all the time. What a sack of shit. Shocking documents reveal that the Trudeau government over in Canada signed into a World Economic Forum-led charter that surrenders health authority to Davos. And again, Bill Gates jets around mansions while lecturing to us that we need to be better. Elon Musk, on the other hand, lives in a $50,000 home. thinks humans are are awesome. They are not one and the same. Make these hoes dress up for the pimps that they really work for. If politicians had to wear sponsor jackets like race car drivers, I would love that. It would be awesome if politicians had to wear this stuff, because we would know exactly where their money and where their agenda is coming from. Be cautious of taking health advice from people who believe that the earth is overpopulated. People like Klaus Schwab, John Kerry, um, Jim Hagan, Jim Hangman, Snape, Blair, etc. The list goes on. FBI director, they're all saying the world's overpopulated. Just be careful of taking health advice from him. Just a reminder that Klaus Schwab is actually a bigger threat to your future than Vladimir Putin. Regardless of what mainstream media says, looks like the war over in Ukraine is heating up. German defense industry prepares for the delivery of battle tanks to Ukraine. Rheinmetall could supply more than 100 tanks this year. We have the Pentagon asking its forces stationed in South Korea to provide military equipment to help Ukraine in the war against Russia, according to Reuters reporting. Putting out a statement saying Ukraine conflict is spiraling upwards. So instead of coming to an end or coming to a halt, it seems like things are just heating up over there. Here we have the CDC admits medical procedures can cause myocarditis and blood clots. Also admits natural immunity is real and concedes that the medical procedures don't prevent infection or spread of the virus. Therefore, medical procedure mandates, like the ones we've seen here in the West and across the world, um, are immoral and unethical, even according to government, and all of them now. Wholeheartedly agree, Thomas Massey. Here we have Thomas Massey saying, how does declining to take a drug that doesn't meet the accepted definition of medical procedure make someone an anti-medical procedure? Here we have the pre-2015 definition of vax, and it's an injection of a killed or weakened infectious organism in order to prevent the disease. 2015 to 2021, the definition changed to the act of introducing vax into the body to produce immunity to a specific disease. Starting September 2021, they changed the definition yet again to the act of introducing a vax into the body to produce protection from a specific disease. Funny with the word salad. They think you're stupid and you can't tell the difference. Jason Whitlock says his wife went down, took the medical procedure, and by the next day, her lymph nodes were swollen, tingling on her scalp, and eventually to her face. So we went to urgent care. A neurologist we saw had told us, let's have you take the second medical procedure and see how that goes. How out of touch was this neurologist? Like, how could you say such a thing after someone had such a adverse reaction to a medical procedure? It's flabbergasting to say the least. Um, Here we have America First Legal joins with Texas and Oklahoma to sue the Biden administration for surrendering our sovereignty to the World Health Organization. Biden's scheme puts the World Organization in charge of America's response to future viruses/outbreaks. So taking to court, we'll see whether anything comes out of. Very good to see states like Texas and Oklahoma stepping up against the Biden administration, because the reality is World Health Organization should have no say in what this country or any country across the globe does pertaining to new viruses or outbreaks or even climate change lockdowns and stuff like that. So good on them for doing that. So we'll see what comes of that. Japan plans to downgrade COVID-19 to flu status. This is well overdue. I wish they had announced this at least 6 to 12 months ago. It would have set a precedent across the globe, but nonetheless, better late than never. Here we have city of San Diego's already moving ahead with a full-on natural gas stove ban by 2033. It's 10 years time. All gas stove will have to be retrofitted, costing roughly $30,000 per home. Pretty crazy stuff. Over in France, there's a bunch of protests. Over 1 million workers are protesting right now over plans to raise the retirement age. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. And then I'll leave you guys with this Mr. Robot clip because I thought this was very fitting and very telling of the current situation we find ourselves in.
You're not real. You're not real.
What? You are? Is any of it real? I mean, look at this. Look at
Listen
it.
what he says.
A world built on synthetic emotions in the form of pills, psychological warfare in the form of advertising, mind-altering chemicals in the form of food, brainwashing seminars in the form of media, isolated bubbles in the form of social networks. Real? You want to talk about reality? We haven't lived in anything remotely close to it since the turn of the century. We turned it off, took out the batteries, snacked on a bag of GMOs while we tossed the remnants in the ever-expanding dumpster of the human kingdom. Branded houses, trademarked by corporations, built on bipolar numbers, jumping up and down on digital displays, hypnotizing us into the biggest slumber mankind has ever seen. You have to dig pretty deep, kiddo, before you can find anything real. We live in a kingdom of bullshit.
It's pretty crazy how spot on he is with his analysis of the world we find ourselves living in. That's a really great show. Talk about a mind effort, so to speak. This show is amazing with what you perceive is happening gets flipped on its head like at least 10 times throughout the show. Really good show. It was not crazy about the way it ended, but I think the overall message behind the show was rather interesting, rather cool to be shown in a mainstream show like this. I think the parallels to our society is rather interesting. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Have you seen Mr. Robot? Do you think World Economic Forum has anything going for it, or are they just a criminal organization essentially? Let me know what you guys think down below. Truth is the truth is stranger than fiction. That's the whole thing behind today's the name of today's stream. But that about does it for today's stream. You guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, found it entertaining, informative, educational, any of the above. Please drop me a like and subscribe. Hit notification bell to be notified when we go live next. Please share this with your friends and family. I will see you guys all Monday morning, 9:15, 30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, please take care and invest wisely.